Buenos dias, amigos. Don't worry, I'm not going to say any of the other parts of the program in Spanish, but we do have Spanish interpretation. If folks need that, you can see Kathleen or Tyler in the back. We're happy to patch you in to someone who's doing real-time Spanish translation for us. Good morning. On behalf of Trinity Financial, I want to thank you so much for being here. My name is Dan Drazen. I'm the Vice President of Development at Trinity Financial. I want to welcome you to the ribbon cutting for Fabrica Lofts. This is the adaptive reuse of a portion of the historic Mariner Mill building. We want to thank you for taking the time for being here today. This is our second phase of work here in Lawrence. In 2019, we completed the Arlington Point project, which is 102 units, another adaptive reuse of a historic building from the early 1900s. We chose Fabrica as the name for this building because in Spanish, Fabrica means factory, and it speaks to the industrial heritage of this property. And we also like the fact that Fabrica resonates in English with the word fabric, because this was a textile manufacturing facility for many, many years. So I want to give you an overview of the event. We're going to have about a 45-minute speaking program. Then we're going to proceed to the front entrance of the building. We're going to cut the ribbon with a ridiculously large pair of scissors. We get our scissors from our colossal office supply store. We will then have a reception in the lounge, and we'll have units available for viewing as well. So please stick around after the speaking program. A couple of notes on the speaking program. The state senator and the state rep are going to be joining us, but they're going to be a little late, so we're tacking them on to the end of the program, as well as Councilman Gregory Del Rosario. He's also running a little late, so he's going to be tucked in at the end. Before I transition into the speaking program, I want to take just a couple of minutes to give folks a little bit of history and context about this complex and its rich history. But I want everyone to pay attention because there will be a quiz at the end, okay? This building, Fabrica Lofts, is about a quarter of the 450,000 square foot Mariner Mill building. It comprises roughly one of 24 buildings that made up the 75-acre Arlington Mills complex that straddled Lawrence and Methuen. It was built between 1865 and 1925, and it was really a response to a tariff that was imposed on the import of wool manufactured products from abroad. And this specific location was attractive because of its proximity to the Boston and Maine Railroad, which ran just on the other side of Stevens Pond. During World War I, this complex produced most of the wool and flannel shirts required by the Army. By 1930, the complex produced almost 200 miles of cloth per week and employed 7,500 workers. Unfortunately, by 1952, the Arlington Mills Company had gone out of business. And what happened is the Malden Mills Company, which was located in Malden, Massachusetts, relocated here and started production. Malden Mills went on to become best known for inventing fleece in 1981. Fleece was revolutionary at the time because it was both lightweight, warm, and it wicked away water. Catastrophe struck in December of 1995, roughly 28 years ago, when a fire tore through significant portions of this complex, including the building that was where the Polartec facility is now, was destroyed. Thankfully, the Mariner Mill building was left unscathed. The third generation CEO of the Malden Mills Company at that time was a gentleman named Aaron Feurenstein. Drawing upon his deep faith in Jewish scripture, Feurenstein pledged to rebuild the Malden Mills factory, and incredibly, he continued to pay the salaries and benefits of his workers while he rebuilt. In the words of Feurenstein himself, he said, quote, "It would have been unconscionable to put 3,000 people on the streets and deliver a death blow to the cities of Lawrence and Methuen. Maybe on paper, our company is worthless to Wall Street, but I can tell you it's worth more." The media dubbed him the Mensch of Malden Mills. Mensch is a Yiddish word that means someone with a strong sense of right and wrong. I am proud to share that we have named our community lounge the Feurenstein Lounge in his honor. That's what we'll be having our reception this afternoon. Fast forward to 2008, the City of Lawrence adopted a 40R smart growth district for this entire area. We completed the Arlington Point project in 2019. We acquired this portion of the Mariner Mill building from Lawrence Community Works in 2022, and work was completed here on our portion in September of this year. So now, I wasn't kidding. We're gonna have a quiz. How many miles of cloth were produced at this factory in a given week? It's multiple choice. The person who was on their phone the whole time was like, he meant it about that quiz? Was it A, 2 miles, B, 20 miles, or C, 200 miles? I want to see a show of hands. I need full participation, everybody. A, 2 miles, B, 20 miles, C, 200 miles. Very good, class. Well done. Give yourselves a hand. You guys were paying attention. At a high level, this project has activated a vacant historic asset. It has remediated a brownfield site that was contaminated, and it has created 87 units of mixed income housing, including apartments at 3 different income levels. In keeping with Trinity's emphasis on having a diverse workforce, I am proud to share that 64% of the construction hours on this project were worked by minority or women. And more than $3 million of the project's costs were awarded to and performed by businesses based right here in Lawrence. That is an applause line, folks. Shifting into our speaking program now, leading off our speaking program is someone who is well familiar with gateway cities across the Commonwealth. From 2014 to 2022, he was a Chief Administrative and Executive Officer of Worcester, Massachusetts, a city of more than 200,000 people. During his tenure, he helped to spearhead the $240 million redevelopment of the city's Canal District, including the relocation of the Woo Sox to Polar Park Stadium. Prior to that, he served in the Massachusetts Senate, and he was Chief of Staff for Congressman Jim McGovern. Born and raised in Worcester, he was named the Secretary of the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities earlier this year by the Healy administration. This is the first cabinet-level position dedicated to housing in 3 decades. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Ed Augustus.
Thank you, Dan, and I'm thrilled to be here today and take part in celebrating the completion of this project, really revitalizing this old textile mill and bringing new life to this particular location in the city of Lawrence. And I want to bring congratulations and thanks from Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll to Trinity Financial for yet another creative reuse of a historic building that's transformed into beautiful homes. And I want to thank Mass Housing, Redstone Equity Partners, the City of Lawrence, and TD Bank for helping to make this a reality. These 87 affordable mixed income lofts and apartments will provide much needed housing for working individuals and families who fuel our state's great economic engine. But even more than that, it marks another victory as we work together to tackle the housing crisis that has been brought on by the lack of affordable housing. This single complex represents a diverse offering of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments with a range of affordability that is sorely needed. Combined with the 102 unit Arlington Point that Trinity also completed in 2019, it's making tremendous difference, unlocking new opportunities for hard-working Massachusetts residences who need an affordable place to live. I know just how challenging it is to take an old mill building and bring it back to life, but when we work together to solve challenges, great things happen. The team that has put this together took full advantage and I mean full advantage, of state, federal tax credits, historic tax credits, and funding from the City of Lawrence, Mass Housing, and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And the end result will be transformative. When we adaptively reuse our old mill buildings, we honor the past while charting a future which all can afford to live in. There are other buildings just like this throughout the state that can be part of our housing solutions, buildings that embody the character and history of New England. And we know creative solutions are needed now more than ever. Our state faces a severe housing shortage that has driven prices increasingly out of reach for many. Fortunately, Governor Healey's Affordable Homes Act that she sent to the legislature last month will ensure the same creative spirit that built the mills will help solve the housing challenges we face today. This bold $4.1 billion bill will enable us to convert more old buildings and build ground up more affordable housing from one end of Massachusetts to the other. And earlier this year, the governor, working with the legislature, expanded the low-income tax credits, increasing from $40 million a year to $60 million a year, that important tool that is used to do projects like this. Together, we can beat back the rising unaffordability and give more Massachusetts residents the opportunity to find the American dream. We can do it right here in gateway cities like Lawrence, and we can do it across the state. So again, congratulations to everybody who was involved in this project. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you for the Healey administration's leadership on housing. We're going to go back to our programs, and State Senator Pavel Payano has just joined us, so I'm going to introduce him and go back to our program as it was originally proposed. So up next is an official who was elected to the Massachusetts Senate last year to represent the 1st Essex District that includes Lawrence, Methuen, and portions of Haverhill. Prior to his election to the State Senate, he served the City of Lawrence for over a decade, first as a school committee member, and more recently as a city councilor at large. A graduate of Lawrence High School and a current resident of this city, he is committed to advancing policies that support public health and community development. Please give a round of applause to State Senator Pavel Payano.
Good morning. I am very pleased that it's so warm right now. It's really great to be here. It's great to be here in front of you on this momentous occasion. One of the things that we do as elected officials is we talk to a lot of people. And one of the things we want to know is what are the deepest concerns? And almost every time, the #1 concern for everybody is trying to find a place to live, an affordable place to live. So it's great that we're here today breaking ground and talking about this housing project, because we need to find a way to create over 200,000 units to meet the current demand. I was talking to Rep. Paulino this weekend, and he was telling me that over the course of the next 10 years, we need to find, was it 500,000 you said? We need to do 500,000. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a way bigger problem than I initially thought. So it's great that we're doing this work. That the governor of the State House has made this a priority. We're putting more funds out there to ensure that more projects like this get done, not just in Lawrence, but in other communities as well. I'm a big believer that I think Lawrence has been doing their part, and we have to push for other communities to do theirs as well. But at least we're here, and I can't wait to see folks live here. I'm sure I'll be at some point knocking on doors and trying to get people to register to vote, to make sure that they take part in their election and that they are involved within the community. So I'll leave it there, and I'll say thank you all for coming, and thank you all that were a part of making sure that this project got completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Our next speaker has represented this section of Lawrence on the state level for nearly a decade. Before that, he was a member of the Lawrence City Council. Please join me in welcoming State Representative Frank Moran.
Wow, decade. Sounds like a lot of years. But again, good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I would like to thank Secretary Garces for taking time out of his incredible busy schedule to be here today to celebrate this great project. This project represents our community's ability to build off our past and our history assets to fuel our city's revitalization for years to come. Fabrica Lofts, I love the name, Fabrica, will provide our residents with 87 units of mixed income rental housing. I'm also grateful that more than half of these units will be used to assist low income and extremely low income families during these difficult times. As you know, you're in the Arlington district. The Arlington district is the poorest district in the city of Lawrence, maybe in the Commonwealth, maybe in New England. I would like to thank Trinity Financial for their ongoing support of our city. You all did an outstanding job in 2019 with the Arlington Point project, and you have outdone it yourselves once again with Fabrica. Thank you again for your hard work to make this project a reality, and I hope that you will all continue to partner with the City of Lawrence in the years to come. There was a study that was done in the City of Lawrence about, a housing study that was done in the City of Lawrence about, I think it was about 8 years ago. And it shows that we were about 15,000 units behind. I believe 15,000 units behind. So think about this. This is one of the reasons why we don't have enough units in our community. And I commend Trinity Financial for doing more units to make sure that eventually the rents will come down a little bit, right? Because right now, the only way we're going to make rents affordable is by building more housing, not by reducing. By building more housing, it'll make it more marketable, it'll make it more accessible to people. So again, thank you everybody for being here. This is a great day for the City of Lawrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Moran. We're going to shift now to the municipal level. Our next speaker has represented this section of Lawrence on the City Council since 2021. During that time, he has worked tirelessly to improve the lives of the people who call this city and this portion of the city home. Please put your hands together for Councilman Gregory Del Rosario.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I mean, following the footsteps of Pavel and Fred Moran, I'll be short. I'm more than proud to be here. I've been happy due to the fact that, as Leader Moran says, this is one of the poorest part of the city, maybe the Commonwealth, and this is the part that I represent. So once I got the invitation, I was so excited. 87 units, meaning there's going to be 87 calls that I'm not going to receive anymore for people or family looking for a place to live. I receive tons of calls every day, and I encourage Trinity to keep doing the job that they're doing, and we need to provide more affordable housing for people here in our district and the whole city of Lawrence. So I'll be short, and thank you very much, and have a great day.
You know, I always encourage our speakers to be brief, but I am like barely settling into my seat before I have to get back up here. So I appreciate everyone's remarks and for being here. Thank you, Councilman. We're going to shift now to our financing partners. Our next speaker is a gentleman who has overseen the origination, underwriting, and servicing of all the multifamily loans in Mass Housing's portfolio since 2018. Before Mass Housing, he was managing principal and chief operating officer at Cambridge-based architecture firm Brunner Cott. Please join me in welcoming Mass Housing's Vice President of Multifamily Programs, Mark Teeden.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks, and thank you for coming. I was just telling Dan I'm 3 minutes, so we're good. So first, Councilor Del Rosario, I'd like to congratulate, or we'd like to offer our congratulations to the city and predecessor administrations for designating this entire site the smart growth area, which has helped attract multiple resources required to reuse these beautiful buildings, which in their prior use were, as we've heard, hubs for economic activity particularly, but also social activity. and today, as a result of their continued redevelopment, can continue to be those hubs in their current use. We'd also like to congratulate, we talk about units, but people live in the units, and we'd like to congratulate also the 200+ residents who will actually live here, some of whom I hope are here today. Are there residents here today? Well, we offer our congratulations because, and I will continue to congratulate and thank the multiple parties that we're involved with here. But I'm very mindful of the fact that you are the reason why we do this work. No question, congratulations are in order for Trinity, for the Trinity team, for this beautiful development, which will serve so many families at a wide range of incomes. It's not easy to do, and we salute you. As one of our larger borrower relationships going on $500 million worth of financing, we work with you on many projects, particularly adaptive reuse projects, and it seems that mill conversions to housing in Lawrence are becoming a habit between Mass Housing and Trinity, one we hope continues. I'd also like to thank the Mass Housing staff who worked on our behalf, because while I have the privilege of standing before you today, it is only because of the dedicated team of folks we have that does all the hard work that brings the agency's resources to bear in such an effective way. And while we did have a large team on this, I'd like to call out my colleague Bill Dunn, who is here, Doug O'Brien, who is not, as well as our largely unheralded but amazing legal team, who are not here, and to my colleagues at both Trinity and TCB who are here, it's because they're closing your other deals. I'd also like to thank all of our other funding partners, because no development can come to fruition without a team of, in this case, more than 10 parties coming together in a singular purpose. And while I have congratulated the Trinity team for what we are celebrating here today, I'd also like to thank them and their entire team of professionals that they assembled to get this development from its start as a concept and vision and bringing it into the reality that we are standing before today. It is only through your efforts that Mass Housing actually has the opportunity to extend its mission to confront the housing challenges facing the Commonwealth, and we deeply appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I just want to acknowledge the commitment that Mass Housing made to this project. We were able to include 21 middle-income workforce housing units in this project because of Mass Housing's support. They also issued the tax-exempt bonds. They contributed resources from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund program, which they manage, and they provided the project's permanent financing. So their involvement with this project was significant. We sincerely appreciate Mass Housing's investment. I want to turn now to our private sector partners. Our next speaker has represented Redstone Equity Partners, which helped to structure the deal between Trinity and TD Bank, our tax credit investor, for the project's $36 million of low-income housing tax credits and historic tax credits. We've been proud to work with Redstone on numerous developments over our 30-year history, and we were glad to have them join us again on this project. Please give a warm welcome to Redstone's Director of Acquisitions, Lauren Henry.
As Dan said in his introduction, I'm Lauren Henry with Redstone Equity Partners. I've had the pleasure of working with Trinity Financial for the past decade of my career, including the adjacent Arlington Point property, and now I have the great pleasure of celebrating this grand opening of Fabrica Lofts. My role as syndicator is to raise and maximize the equity capital brought into the deal through the various tax credits. In this deal, we are able to bring back the same team that we had on Arlington Point project, including our investor, TD Bank, who you'll hear from Nate Bandini next, who served as both lender and our end investor. This created efficiencies in the closing process and brought approximately $36 million in tax credit equity to the project. Thank you, Nate, and your equity team for trusting us and working with us on this project in creating 87 new homes for these families in Lawrence. I also want to thank all of our federal and state legislators, especially the folks here today, for recognizing the importance of this program and their continued support of affordable housing. I especially want to thank Secretary Augustus and their team at EOHLC for the support of these homes through their allocation of tax credits, without this would not be possible. And lastly, I want to thank Jim and Dan and the entire Trinity team for their vision here in Lawrence. Dan, you always brought an element of fun. When we did our weekly diligence calls, he would bring a joke every week, and we truly appreciate both his humor and vision and commitment to this project. So thank you for including us, and congratulations.
Thank you, Lauren. Our next speaker represents TD Bank, a lender that Trinity has partnered with on numerous transformative projects. TD provided the project's $35 million construction loan and invested in the project's low-income housing tax credits and historic tax credits. It is my pleasure to introduce a friend of Trinity Financial, the Vice President of Commercial Real Estate, Nate Bondini.
Can't lose the speech there. Good morning. Hi, my name is Nate Bondini, Senior Loan Officer at TD Bank. It's an honor to be here, and I want to thank all the partners and speakers involved in today's ribbon cutting. The redevelopment of the former Marina Mill into a much-needed affordable housing is a great reuse of the property and another great project to collaborate on with Trinity Financial. We at TD Bank are committed to supporting the communities in which our friends, families, and neighbors live and work. Over the last 3 years, we've provided more than $3 billion in loans to help build and preserve true affordable housing across our footprint. At TD Bank, we're opening doors for a more inclusive and sustainable economy with a focus on a vibrant planet, connected communities, and affordable housing. Hand in hand with our relationships like Trinity Financial, we're working to protect and improve the environment so that our friends and neighbors and our economy can thrive. We're proud to support another project like Fabrica Lofts. Again, congratulations to Trinity Financial team and all the partners involved. We're so glad to be able to support another impactful project in the city of Lawrence, having been part of the successful adjacent Arlington Point development. On behalf of all my colleagues at TD, we want to thank everyone involved and look forward to supporting more impactful opportunities in the future. Great job, Trinity. Keep up the good work. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you for being here. The last person on our speaking program is someone who actually lives in our projects. The Arlington Point project, as I mentioned, was completed in 2019. And I'm really excited to have someone speak to the experience of living at one of our properties. So please join me in welcoming a resident of Arlington Point, Catherine Reyes.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our new neighbors. I stand here today not only as a tenant, but a proud member of Arlington Point community. Having been one of the first residents to move here 4 years ago, I have had the privilege to witness firsthand the growth and evolution of this wonderful place we call home. Arlington Point has been more than just a residence for me and my family. It's also a heaven place, a place where we have found not just a shelter, but caring community and a supportive team. Together we have built a foundation of trust, respect, and mutual support that truly makes Arlington Point stand up as one of the best places to live in Lawrence. Today, we gather here to celebrate the opening of Fabrica. I represent not just myself, but the residents of Arlington Point, and it's an honor to share how we have made a difference. Our collaboration and fantastic team at Trinity Management have been instrumental in nurturing this sense of community. The key to our success lays in our collective responsibility. Arlington Point, we understand that the safety and well-being of our building is a shared goal. We have We know our neighbors, we look out after each other, and we maintain the secure environment where only the resident hold keys and only open the door to the people we know. The sense of security enhanced by our principle: if we see something, we say something. Equally important is our commitment to cleanliness and consideration. Keeping our building clean isn't just a task, it's a responsibility that each one of us is proudly owned. In doing so, that we don't just care our physical surrounding, but we show consideration and respect for each other. As we embark on this new chapter along with Fabrica, let's continue to uphold these values that have served us so well. Let's ensure that Arlington Point and Fabrica remain not just a place to live, but a place where we live with harmony, respect, and a community spirit. Thank you to everyone who made this possible for everybody here in the community of Lawrence. Thank you for being part of this journey, and here's to many years to come. Arlington Point, we are our new neighbors of Fabrica. This community, let's make this community a wonderful place to live. I encourage you, all my new neighbors, new residents of Fabrica, to love and care for your new home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. It's always a pleasure to hear directly from residents about their experience living in these buildings. Before we transition off our speaking program, I want to just take a minute to recognize a couple of folks who have been supportive of our work here in the city. Congresswoman Lori Trahan was not able to join us today, but she sends her regards. And Lawrence Mayor Brian DePena just arrived, so Mr. Mayor, thank you for joining us. So that concludes our speaking program. I do have a bunch of other thank yous I want to run through, and I'm sorry if this feels like one of those award shows where I name a bunch of people that you've never heard of before, but this is important because behind me, there's an army of people that make these projects possible. I get the pleasure of going to work every day with people who I push with sometimes challenging deadlines, but they come to work with a sense of humor to get us through the good times and the not so good times. So first off, our legal team at Nixon Peabody, thank you so much for all of your work. Somewhere out there, there is a grove of trees missing because of all the paper that we needed to close this transaction, but they were once again, a diligent partner and a great attorney. So thank you, Nixon Peabody. Our general contractor, Lowell-based Aberthaw Construction, for breathing new life into this historic building and your attention to detail. Our neighbors at Lawrence Community Works and Induspad. Our design and engineering team. Icon Architecture for designing a beautiful building. McPhail Associates, our geoenvironmental and geotechnical consultants, for telling us where all the dirty dirt was. Vertex, our hazardous materials consultant. Bowler Engineering, our site civil engineers. Sousa True, our structural engineers. R.W. Sullivan, our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers. Architectural Heritage Foundation, our historic consultant. Our PR team at Next Generation Strategies. Our branding team at Hecht Horton and Thurston Leidy. Our accountants at Cohn Resnick. Our market analysts, Joanne Shelton at Bonds. Whitney Vegas for our signage package. And Sunbug Solar for our design build of our solar array on our roof. I'm sure I forgot some other people, but thank you all for the work that you've put into this project. Yes, round of applause, yes. Thank you. I think it's, as Mark pointed out, it's easy to forget with these projects. You build the building, it looks great, we're done, right? There is a whole host of work that needs to happen once the building is constructed. We have 87 apartments here. We got over 1,000 applications. And an application for this type of property, where there's all these income restrictions, all these regulations, it requires a whole bunch of paperwork that has to be sorted through. And I wanna I'm going to name the people from Trinity Management who helped us get to where we are. So I just want to name these people. At the end, I'm going to ask you to stand. But let me just run through this list because it is significant. Our regional and portfolio staff, Scott Chakoti, Colleen McNasby, Maribel Batista, and Brad Iapini. Our marketing team, Stacy Pagos, Jacob Durand, and Ambar Marchina. From our compliance team, Lady Medina, Carlos Taveras, Sonia Perez, and Linda Cribben. From our site team, Rena Alvarez, Esmarlin Marquez, Deriza Lorenzo. From our sister communities, Yelisa Thomas, Juliana Arias. From our maintenance team, Jose Sanchez, Pedro Fibo, and Sean Casey. Could you all stand, please, if you're here? Thank you. These people toiled nights, weekends to get this building occupied, and I'm proud to say that as of yesterday afternoon, we have 87 units and we have 87 signed leases. Good job. I promise they weren't just waiting to sign that last lease for dramatic effect. But it was good, good timing. I want to thank the Trinity Financial team. Amanda Alberta, Josh Dickens, Christine Galgay, Rebecca Hemingway, Jim Keefe. Larry Sparrow was our construction manager, and we had, Larry is retiring. I'd like to think that he went out on a high note with this project, but Larry, I want to thank you. We had a great time celebrating a couple months back, but there's two things I wanted to mention about working with you, Larry, and I forgot to say them at your retirement party. I'm about halfway through my career, but I already know, Larry, that these two projects I will cherish in terms of our work together and what we were able to accomplish. So thank you for that. In addition, I've always enjoyed working with you, Larry, because you never forgot about the people who are going to live in these properties. You never forgot about the residents. You never forgot about the property management staff. What was it going to be like to clean this space? What was it going to be like to live in this space? So thank you. There are folks who helped me put on this event, Sadio Desmond, Stacy Polishuk, and the Con Ventures team. Thank you all for your work to get us here today. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the people who support me personally. My wife and daughter are supposed to be here. They just walked in. Welcome, Emily and Isabel. And my dad is here as well. Thank you for all of your support along the way. So to everyone here, especially the leadership of the public officials on this stage, thank you for helping Trinity make this incremental improvement in the city of Lawrence. We appreciate your support and for you being here today. I want to invite everyone to stay for a little bit and mingle. We're going to have a reception in the Fiorentin Lounge with some light fare, and there will be 2 apartments open for viewing. One on the first floor, right down the hall from where we're having our reception, and one on the 4th floor where you can see one of our loft units that has a second level we were able to cut in because of the generous ceiling heights on the 4th floor. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy your day.
Don't want to cut it yet.
Hold on. Okay. Hold the sign a little tighter.
And Stephen, give a count, okay?
All right. And smiles right here. Everyone's good. Good. All right, we're gonna cut on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yay!